Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mock Draft 3.0 of the NFL. We're a month away to the NFL draft, and because free agency just done 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we are now. It's a perfect time to do a mock draft. Yes, if you have not seen my mock drafts 1.0 and 2.0, make sure to keep a track on that. Those videos will be very important for this mock draft. And yes, there are two trades that I'll get to share with you guys. Let's get to this mock draft 3.0. Let's begin with the first pick. The Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward. Not a surprise. Still, they didn't address the quarterback situation. Of course, Will Levis will be competing with this job. But also, if you go look at their free agency market, they did sign Dan Morgan Jr. from Pittsburgh to play left tackle, which would mean J.C. Latham is going to play his normal position at right tackle. So Cam Ward, no surprise, I am going to the Tennessee Titans. Another no surprise pick here. The Cleveland Browns will select Abdul Carter from Penn State. I know they re-signed Myles Garrett to a long-term extension, but why not bring in someone alongside him to make a scary duo? Myles Garrett, Abdul Carter in Cleveland. The Browns better watch out on the Browns defense, because this Browns team is going to be even hungrier with Abdul Carter. The number 3 pick, and this one is where I am right now. So the Giants signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal. Of course, if you have not checked that video, I would check that one. So it was good. Good details right there. They did not made a lot of moves, of course, but they did bring back Darius Slayton to a 3-year deal, which I would maybe hold on to him, but it would make sense. I got Shedeur Sanders, from quarterback from Colorado, to the Giants. He will compete with Jameis Winston for the starting job in New York. There was a recent news, of course, that Dion, there was a question about where does he want to see his son play, and he said he hopes he wants to see his son play in New York. That could mean there is a chance the Giants are going to select Shedeur Sanders in the draft. The Patriots. So the Patriots were been active in free agency. Love their moves. Milton Williams coming in the defensive line. Harold Landry on the pass rusher. Carlton Davis at corner. But let's bring in another superstar in the mix. Let's bring in Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter to the Patriots. He can play corner. He can play wide receiver, but I do expect him to play corner alongside Christian Gonzalez. Jaguars. Okay, Jaguars got a new GM, James Gladstone. They did brought in Jordan Lewis, corner, which he's going to work at slot corner position. But I think they're going to be focusing on the defensive line, and this is not a big surprise for myself, of course. I got Mason Graham from Michigan going to the Jaguars. Let's go to Vegas. Okay, this is the big one. Cannot wait. They brought Geno Smith from Seattle, which means quarterback is off the board. So, if this happens, it's their best pick. Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders. Here's the reason. They did sign Raheem Mostert to a 1-year deal, but he's not going to be their long-term running back problem. So why not bring in a long-term running back in Ashton Jeanty? The guy that ran 2,000 rushing yards last college football season. You're going to get a guy that's physical, raw player, and break some tackles. I think Ashton Jeanty could be their next Saquon Barkley type of guy. Okay, let's go to the Jets. I know everyone's mock drafts is Jets get Tyler Warren. DJ's 3.0 mock draft is got Armin Membu. I love this one. This is the pick I got. I got Armin Membu, right tackle from Missouri to the Jets. the best scenario is to protect Justin Fields at quarterback, of course. Old-fashioned replace left tackle and put one of the best right tackles in this year's draft class, Armin Mimbu, to right tackle. And I do expect them to address offensive weapons in the second, third round, or later drafted days, of course, and maybe addressing in free agency. Of course, they're one of the three teams interesting in Stephon Diggs. So, but they should focus on this one. I think Armin Mimbu makes sense with the Jets. Let's go to the Carolina Panthers. I'm not surprised. I know they added a lot of good players, but I like Jalen Walker to the Panthers. He's a little bit of Micah Parsons guy. He can play edge and he can be on the outside in the linebackers, of course. So that's my comparison. Jalen Walker, Micah Parsons type of guy. I like him to Carolina. Let's go to New Orleans. Trade alert. This is our first trade of the day in this 3.0 mock draft. I have the Saints trading down with the 49ers, and the Niners, with the 9th pick, will select Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. They lost Tre'Davious Ward to the Colts, and they have no depth on that defense. So why not John Lynch, of course, who does really well in the draft, trades up and go gets their guy in Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. The Chicago Bears, I got the Bears selecting Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU. They addressed great on the offensive line, but this would be even better. Will Campbell at left tackle, Joe Thuney at left guard. You got a good center, of course. Jonah Jackson at right guard, and you bring in a right tackle and Darnell Wright. Will Campbell is the best tackle in this year's draft, but I do expect him to fall to the Bears. Let's go to New Orleans. So the Saints, of course, I mentioned they trade down with the 49ers. They select Malachi Williams, defensive end out of Georgia. I think they have to go on defense. Of course, Brandon Staley is going to want to upgrade that defensive front with Chase Young back in that defensive front, of course. So why not bringing in one of the best pass rushers for the Georgia Bulldogs in Malachi Williams? Let's go to Dallas. I love this one. This is bold. This is a bold prediction. I got Teresa McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona, to the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been searching for a WR2 receiver. What better way for Brian Schottenheimer and the Cowboys to bring in a big body receiver for Dak Prescott? He compares to Mike Evans, and when you want to throw to the end zone, McMillan is the guy. I like to see that McMillan to the Cowboys. Miami, the Dolphins select Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama. They got to fix the offensive line. It's still a possibility that they can trade down, which this would be a chance, but Miami gets Tyler Booker. The Colts, I got the Indianapolis Colts selecting Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. They did, of course, sign Daniel Jones, who is going to compete at the QB job for Anthony Richardson. So whoever's the QB in Indy is going to throw to Tyler Warren, who is one of the best tight ends in this year's draft class. And he reminds me of Brock Bowers. If you remember, Brock Bowers came out of college. He was a blocking tight end, but also a yak tight end as well. Tyler Warren is a Brock Bowers 2.0 type of guy. Physical, he has good hands, and he can do wildcat plays. So the Colts, if they want to use wildcat plays, this is the guy that they can do. The Atlanta Falcons, I got the Falcons selecting Shamar Stewart, defensive end out of Texas A&M. I think they got to fix that pass rushing, of course. Now, they did brought Leonard Floyd, but I think go young on that defense and go Shamar Stewart from A&M. Arizona Cardinals. I got the Cardinals selecting James Pierce Jr., defensive end at Tennessee. This is the best pick for the Arizona Cardinals. They got Josh Sweat, but put him with Ron Browning and also have James Pierce Jr. in that defense. Wow, that defense is going to be really good to watch. All right, Cincinnati. So I'm leaning towards pass rusher and safety help. I got Nick Anawari from South Carolina to be with the Bengals. He is a ball hawking defensive player, of course. You know, the Ravens got their own and Kyle Hamilton. So try to even that with Nick Anawari from South Carolina and try to even the game with the Ravens. I like that move for the Bengals. Seattle Seahawks. I got the Seahawks selecting Calvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas. He would be a perfect fit at the left tackle position. They got to address that online, of course. Calvin Banks Jr. is that kind of guy. Jahad Campbell to the Buccaneers. I think he's going to fit in that Todd Bowles defense. You know, the Todd Bowles defense is going to be about blitzing. So Jahad Campbell is going to remind me of that Devin White type of guy. I think that is what Todd Bowles is going to have with Jahad Campbell. Denver Broncos. Okay, Broncos, I went with, I think in my last 2.0 mock draft, I had them selecting Colston Loveland, the tight end, and that would probably include, really quickly, also Colston Loveland. So in this 3.0 mock draft, I got Mika Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State. They signed Evan Ingram, of course, but if bringing in Bo Nix, another weapon, Egbuka is that kind of guy. That would be nice. Mika Egbuka in Denver. Okay, Steelers fans, this is my favorite one. This is the biggest bold prediction that I think is probably a possibility. Jackson Dart to the Pittsburgh Steelers out of Ole Miss. There's a good reason that there's a chance Jackson Dart could make it to the first round. Pittsburgh makes sense because they're in a QB situation. They did lose Justin Fields, who's now with the Jets. They still had talks with Aaron Rodgers, which we don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers right now. We don't know about what's going to happen with Russell Wilson. They did miss that Sam Darnold. So if those are not going as planned, go get Jackson Dart. He is a young, talent quarterback. He would come in a great system in Arthur Smith's offense. He would do a read option play on this Steelers offense, and it would be a brand new Steelers offense with Jackson Dart under center. Let's go to the Chargers. I got Colston Loveland reunited with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. And this makes sense. The Chargers need a tight end. I love this fit to Colston Loveland to the Chargers. Luther Burden III from Missouri will go to Green Bay. The Packers still need a wide receiver. They did sign Mecole Hardman, but however, is he going to be there for how long? Maybe I think he's a one-year deal guy. Bring in a future guy. Luther Burden makes sense in Green Bay. Minnesota, I got the Vikings selecting Jahad Barton, corner out of Texas. They got to address the corner position, of course. I know they lost their safety in Cam Barton to the Colts, but I do expect them to go young corner in Jahad Barton. Let's go to Houston. Trade alert. I got another trade alert, of course. I got the Texans trading down with the Baltimore Ravens. And with that pick, the Ravens will select Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. What a duo that would be. Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton. Ravens are going to the Super Bowl with that pick. Okay, let's go. Rams select Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. You know Les Snead is going to do whatever it takes to fix that defense. What better way to fix that than that defensive line with Derek Harmon alongside Byron Kobe Turner on that D line? Let's get to the pick from Baltimore, which is now Houston's pick, and I got Josh Cornell Jr. out of Oregon to join Houston. He's going to plug in and left tackle. Of course, they did lose him, Larry Tunsil, to Washington, so I do expect them to go after Josh Cornell Jr. from Oregon. The Detroit Lions will select Mike Green, defensive end out of Marshall. I think this fits very well with him alongside Aiden Hutchinson. I like that pickup. A young, raw pass rusher going to Detroit. Washington selects Donovan Enkarola, defensive end out of Boston College. I got him back yet in the first round. I think he's still a productive player in that Dan Quinn defense. The Bills select Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. They got to fix that defensive tackle front. I think bring Ed Oliver some help. Walter Nolan fits in that D line. Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. Chiefs, they signed Jalen Moore at left tackle, but I know he's a bit younger. They're going to give him some experience, of course. So bring in Gray Zelbo, guard out of North Dakota State, to play left guard, and your O-line is fixed. Yeah, that's how you fix the Chiefs O-line. Philadelphia Eagles are defending Super Bowl champions. Select Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. Listen, you may be thinking, they're going to go O-line, they're going to go D-line, linebackers. No, I think you bring in Jalen Hurts, another weapon, Matthew Golden with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That offense will still be fresh off a Super Bowl win. That is my mock draft 3.0. Remember, we're a month away till the NFL draft, so get ready for what is coming in Green Bay. Hello. Make sure to follow me and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news. We'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.